All right, let's dive in. Today, we're talking about something huge in the world of AI. How you take an AI agent that's a cool prototype, a neat little demo, and turn it into a rock-solid product that a business can actually rely on. We're going to tackle what's called the last mile. And trust me, it's often the hardest part of the entire journey. And this quote, this just nails it, doesn't it? Anyone can stitch together an agent in an afternoon. But getting to a place where you can trust it with your customers, with your data, with your money, that is a whole different ballgame. And that's the paradox we're digging in today. So just how much work goes into building that trust? Well, get this. It's about 80%. Seriously, a full 80% of the effort isn't even about making the agent smarter. It's about building all the stuff around it, the testing, the security, the safety rails, to make it dependable. That's a massive shift from how we think about traditional software. And if you're wondering why that 80% is so important, well, here you go. This is what happens when you skip it. You get a support agent being tricked into handing out freebies. Or worse, a user getting their hands on internal data they should never see. We're not talking about small bugs here. These are real, costly, business-breaking failures. All of this points to something we call the AI production gap. You see, all the best practices we've learned over the years from regular software development and even machine learning operations, they're a good start, but they're just not enough for agents. Agents are a different breed entirely. And here's the core reason why. An agent isn't just a piece of code that runs from A to B. It's interactive. It talks back. It's stateful. It remembers what you talked about yesterday. And its path is dynamic, which means it can decide on its own what to do next. It might use one tool today and a completely different one tomorrow. That unpredictability is its superpower, but it's also what makes it so tough to manage. So how do we bridge this gap? How do we tame that unpredictability? The secret is building trust before the agent ever sees a real user. It's about having a disciplined, automated process that builds confidence every step of the way. And that process stands on these three essential pillars. First, you need tough evaluations that act as a gatekeeper. If the quality isn't there, it doesn't pass. Simple as that. Second, you automate those checks with a CI/CD pipeline. And third, you have smart, safe strategies for releasing it into the wild. Let's look closer at that second pillar, the pipeline. The best way to think about it is like a funnel that filters out problems. Before any new code is even merged, you run a bunch of quick tests. That's phase one. If it passes, it moves to a staging environment, basically a clone of your live system, for much tougher testing. And only when it's passed everything and a human gives the final okay does it go to production. But here's the thing. No amount of testing can perfectly predict the real world. That's where these safe rollout strategies are lifesavers. You can do a Canary release, showing it to just 1% of your users first. Or you can run two versions side by side to compare them. You can even use feature flags to turn the agent on or off with a flip of a switch. It's like having an emergency brake for production. Okay, so the agent is live. We did it. But the work is not over, not even close. Now, everything shifts to a continuous loop of operations. Because managing an agent that's out there making its own decisions requires constant attention. And that whole process can be summed up in these three words: observe, act, evolve. It's a really simple but powerful cycle. First, you observe what the agent is doing, then you act on those observations to handle anything going wrong right now, and finally, you evolve the system, using what you've learned to make it better for the long haul. The observe part is built on its own three pillars. Think of it this way. Logs are like a diary, just the raw moment-by-moment facts of what happened. Traces are the story. They connect those facts to explain why it happened. And metrics? That's the report card, giving you the high-level summary of how things are going. You absolutely need all three to see the full picture. Now, seeing something is one thing, but you have to be able to act something about it. That's the act phase. This is all about having automated reflexes. It's like a circuit breaker in your house. If an agent suddenly starts going wild and spending a ton of money, you need an automatic system to shut it down right then and there. It's about real-time control. So if act is the short-term tactical fix, evolve is the long-term strategic improvement. This is where you close the loop. You take all that data from production, the errors, the user complaints, everything, and you feed it right back into the development process. You turn today's fires into tomorrow's fireproofing. Okay, so you've done it. You've got one agent running smoothly in production. That's amazing. But what happens when your company builds 10 more or 50? You suddenly run into a whole new set of problems. And this is the big one, agent silos. You've got this brilliant agent over in customer service, and another one in sales, and another in analytics, and none of them can communicate. They can't share skills, they can't collaborate, so every team ends up rebuilding the same capabilities over and over again. They're all just reinventing the wheel.
So the solution is to give them a common language. And really, there are two key protocols to know. The first is NCP, which is for simple, stateless tools. Think of it as a command. Do this one specific thing, like pull a number from a database. The second is A to A, or agent to agent. This is for complex conversations between stateful agents. It's a request. Achieve this bigger goal, like figure out why customers are leaving. One is a command, the other is a collaboration.
And this auto repair shop analogy just makes it all click. A to A is for the high-level conversations between agents. The customer talks to the manager agent, the manager delegates to the mechanic agent, the mechanic even talks to an outside supplier agent. But when the mechanic agent needs to actually do work, it uses MCP to command its specific tools, like running a diagnostic scan. It's a beautiful way to see how they work together at different levels. So let's zoom out and put all the pieces together. It all starts with that inner loop where a developer is just building and testing on their own machine. From there, it moves into that rigorous pre-production pipeline for automated checks. Then, it's carefully rolled out to production, where that observe, act, evolve loop kicks in, constantly feeding insights back to make the agent better. It's one seamless, continuous lifecycle. Which brings us right back to where we started. That last mile, filled with discipline and process, is what turns a clever idea into something you can actually build a business on. So the question I'll leave you with is a simple one to ask, but a hard one to answer. Is your AI just a clever prototype, or is it a truly trusted product? The difference is everything.